Sure.
So hi, my name is Chris Hager. I'm the producer for Tera here in North America. And today we're going to give you a brief overview of what Tera is and why we think it's going to be the next best thing. So to start out, when you're looking at Tera and when you're trying to describe it, the first thing you'll notice if you're watching is that there's no tab targeting. You can't select an enemy, you can't do anything that you can in a normal MMO, like for combat-wise. And what that means for us is that we have a totally unique action combat system. The crosshairs on the screen, and how far or how close you are from an enemy determines how you're going to hit it. So just like that. So if you swing to the left or to the right, you're not going to hit your enemy. Likewise, if you're swinging right at him, you're not going to miss. I think that's one of the most frustrating things that I've come across in MMOs is when I've tab targeted the guy, he's right in front of me, I start swinging, and I'm missing. And that's just something that never happens in Tera because you either hit or you get hit. Now the class we're playing today is a Berserker. They're kind of my favorite because they can kind of do a lot of damage. So you notice that you're using your position in combat as a way to get to the right spot to hit the enemy just where you need to. Right. Now if you hit the C key, you're going to put your axe down in a defensive spot and you're going to block. So every class has something like that, some way to get out of melee range or to block and absorb some damage. So another core feature that I really like about the Berserker, you can charge up your skills. So for example, if you hold down number 3, and you just hold it down, you're going to see a bar and it's going to charge it up. And you can keep charging it up. There are some skills that are really cool because it's all about the strategy of combat. You can hold it and start charging it up, and once you get to a certain level, it'll actually start hurting you. Like, yeah, so you're losing hit points right now. So it's a matter of timing the distance as you run up to the enemy, clobbering it, making sure you hit it at the right position, because enemies will block just like you do. They'll jump out of the way just like you do. So it's really about staying focused on what you're doing and staying focused on what you're fighting.
Okay. So since we're only seeing the Berserker, what are the other classes?
So we've got 8 classes total. They have some of the same characteristics that you would expect, but we've got different twists on all of them. Our combat system makes it to where every class plays uniquely. So for example, we've got 2 tanks. We have a traditional Lancer, which puts a shield in front of him, you absorb damage like that. We have another tank called a Warrior. He's got 2 twin swords and he's total offense. What that means is he's moving and rolling around and constantly drawing the monster's attention to a different part of the screen so that his group can come in from the sides and the back and attack the monster. So it's a different take on a tank. And we've got 2 DPS classes. We've got a Slayer, uses a huge 2-handed sword, and a Berserker that uses the axe. We've got 2 ranged, we've got an Archer and we've got a Sorcerer. Then we have 2 support classes. We've got a Mystic and we've got a Priest. Yeah. Just as another example of how our combat changes how a normal class would play. The Priest is one of our healing classes. They do a lot of support, a lot of buffs. You can't just sit back in a battle and you can't tab target your party members and heal them. You've actually got to be engaged in the combat. You've got to get in there, you've got to duck the enemy, you've got to get close enough to heal your partner for that quick 30-second heal. You've got to back on out and make sure that everybody gets into range so you can get the big circular heal down, the area of effect heal. So it's all about engaging, and if you can even notice, our UI is clean, it's simple, and it's because we want all of the attention drawn to the center of the screen and really engaging the player in combat. So some of the other things we offer. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll just go ahead and jump in. So we've got the combat, which is one of our major differentiators. But we also have everything, all that depth that you would expect from a traditional MMO. And we've got a full class system with skills. We've got instances. We've got crafting. We've got everything that you would expect from your AAA MMOs. And when you combine that with the action of our combat, it makes it something really, really unique. So just another example of where Tera is. See, you're getting into it. I like it. See, just another example of how Tera is different and really making something unique. We're talking about our political system here at E3. So basically what this is, if you hit the M button real quick.
The what?
The M button for the map. If you hit the right mouse button.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Someone's trying to get me.
Oh, okay. I can discuss it without visuals. That's all right.
All right.
So.
I'll get rid of these and then I'll bring it up.
Right on. So the world of Tera is divided into 3 continents. Inside each one of those continents are 5 to 8 provinces, right? So as a player, if you're in a guild, you're over level 50, you can actually be an elected official and run these provinces. So you can get your rise to power from one of 2 ways. You can either be voted into political office by signing up, putting your name on the ballot, and getting all the players to vote for you in an area. So if you hit right click, you'll zoom out a bit. So here are all 3 of the continents, and those are all of the territories within them. And you as a player can run one of these territories if you're either elected into office, or you can actually do trial by combat, and you could do PvP battlegrounds on 5 versus 5 or 10 versus 10. And the winner either by popular vote or the winner of the battlegrounds will actually get to run this province. And that means they can raise and lower taxes. They can turn on specialty NPCs for items. They can turn on trainers. They can turn on transportation NPCs and teleporters. They can have events. They can silence everybody. They actually have the ability to silence certain people in game from chatting for a certain amount of time. They get a unique mount. Every time anybody runs into or out of their instance, they get the fame, and their name is right on top, right in front with the van arc. So I mean, it's a way for the players to really control their own server. If you're level 30 and you're playing in the level 30 zone, and there's someone that you don't like, someone that's going to raise the taxes that's running for office, it's up to you to fight it. It's up to you to get enough people together to either vote them out of office or get somebody else and put them in charge and have the other person just lose in the battle. So it's really a new dynamic to the in-game content that we're really excited to show people.
Yeah, I think that's that a bit. It's hard to think and fight at the same time.
See, it's engaging, right?
It is. One of the things, so all the different zones that you have, are you looking for each one to have its own unique look? Will some people want a certain kind, or what would be the advantage to be of one over the other?
Well, so are you talking about as far as the political system and ruling
system?
Yeah,
if I want to take over a zone, right? Is there a zone that people want the most usually, or is there a capital, or?
So there are capitals. When you look at what we think player motivation is going to be, because obviously players are motivated by a bunch of different things. It's either control of a certain hunting ground, or control of a certain city that a lot of people go to. If you have a huge influx of players that are level 20, right, you're going to want to control the level 20 zone, because you as the van arc of that zone, you get kickbacks from all the taxes you collect. So you want to be where the people are so you can make the most money. So that means the provinces with the most towns, the most popular provinces that all the players really want to be at. You want control over, the best content. So it's if there's a really cool boss monster that spawns in this zone, maybe you want to be in charge of that zone, and maybe you can figure out a way to relegate who gets what in that zone. You could say this hunting zone is off limits, and it's up to you to enforce it. But you could say that. So it's really up to the own player's motivation. That's part of the exciting part of it.
One of the things I'd like to know is, once you elect someone, how long do they have in office? I mean, you can always impeach them or whatever if they don't get their points. But if you elect them, how long are you stuck with them?
So the way the cycle works is that you'll go through a 7-day election process, where you sign up, you start to get the word out. You can hire NPCs to actually be PR people for you in the province. And after that 7-day period, they tally the votes, and whoever wins is put into office. Now they will be in office for 21 days.
Okay.
So 14 days into their office, the election process starts all over again. Yep. So if you don't like who's there, you got to deal with them for about 3 weeks. But the problem is, if you don't like who's there and you don't do anything about it, they could get reelected.
Right.
So it's it's really up to the players to enforce change if they don't like them. You might be the
only one who just likes them.
Exactly, and then you need to go find another province probably.
So is there going to be am I going to live somewhere and then I have to worry more about that province over anyone else, or is it pretty much where I just happen to be at the time?
So, and again, we think this is going to be how the players are going to react to it, because it's a totally new and unique system. Right. We think that as players are if I am level 20,
right,
and the next territory starts at level 22, I'm going to be really interested because I'm going to be spending a lot of my time in that next zone for the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be interested in who's there. So as far as a home zone, you know, there might be an area where your guild members or your friends typically gather. But for the most part, we think players are going to really be interested in where they're going to be leveling next. Because that's going to influence the trainers they have access to, the taxes they have to pay, the goods they can buy, and the teleportation services they get.
Okay. But, I mean, it all happens. You get to the end of the game, you're level whatever you happen to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, okay, I wanna be part of this big guild, and we all want to live here. Is there going to be somewhere we can set up shop or something, or is it just pretty much going to be, like, kind of random?
Well, so there's no guild housing in the game yet, or player housing, so there's no one place where everybody's going to make camp, I guess. You know, they're probably going to all gravitate towards the higher end sections, but you know, the higher end areas might not be where the majority of the money is. If you level before anybody else does, you might want to go control and make the level 20 zone your guild zone. You know, I mean the zone that you guys hang out in, because that's, you know, where the new players are, or that's where the most money's made, or that's where the coolest in monster is. So again, it's kind of like it's scattered all over the place.
As a player, how am I going to know which zone is the most popular? I mean, I can go around and walk around, but it's a big area, and I don't really have time to check them all. Are you going to have some sort of like, most people are this level, or?
Well, so after a while, you'll be able to tell, you know, just by the level of monsters in the area, what the zone range is.
Right, but I don't know how many players are in that area. Like, if I'm looking for like, I want a level 20 zone, how do I know there's going to be like 20% of the people in there?
Well, so that's one of the things that we don't know. I mean, you can't.
There's not going to be.
We don't have.
Like that?
We don't have in-game demographics.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's more getting out there and knowing who's in the zone that you're looking for. It's getting your guilds to do some research on what the best campaign is, or what the best area to try to take over is. So it's really like a political campaign in that you've got to go out and do the research and the legwork, and you've got to figure out, you know, what's the most prosperous zone, and what's the zone with a big influx of people coming in.
Right. Trying to block.
Oh, C is the block.
Oh no, I'm trying. It's just I'm also trying to talk.
Yeah, so did you see that little icon that just popped up on the screen?
Yeah.
So that's part of our combo system too. So what the combo system does is it'll trigger off skills in sequence, but the animation is shorter than if you did the skills individually.
Oh, okay.
So it keeps that speed of combat up, it keeps you really engaged, and it keeps that fast flow always going.
But it still uses the cooldown.
Yes, it does still use the cooldown. It's just like hitting something in your skill bar below, but it's faster.
Okay.
Like the animation is faster. One of the things that we'll have in a future build is the ability to create your own combos too. So link the skills that you want to link for your playstyle together.
Okay.
Yeah.
What diversity are we going to have in the classes? Like, is everybody who's going to be level 40 Berserker going to have the same abilities and everything? Or?
So they'll all have the same basic abilities. There are two ways that you can kind of differentiate yourself. We have what's a glyph system, and the glyphs are actually they're modifications to existing skills that you can purchase and apply, but you can only apply so many at a time. Like you earn glyph points, and you can spend them, but you can use them up and you'd have to reset them. But they do things like they increase the damage, they increase the speed, they add a health bonus if you hit a certain percentage. So you're tweaking your skills. You're fine-tuning your engine, essentially, is what you would say. So the other way is through the armor system. You can enchant your armor all the way up. You can also add unique offensive and defensive crystals, and you can attach those to the armor. And they're all very unique. They all go from, if you get a critical attack, you have a percentage chance of, you know, triggering a healing spell, or, you know, so those crystals are going to be what defines and what 80% of the players are going to use the base stuff, and that top 20 are really going to want to tweak using that glyph system and those crystal systems.
Okay. One of the things that's like, that was the biggest criticism I've seen for a while was everything now is the same. You want to play a class, you're this ability. That's just the way it works. So a lot of people still are like, well, I want to custom my character. How am I going to do that?
Yeah. You know, and that's one thing that, you know, as we look at Tera and other MMOs, you know, we always want to make Tera a better game. And we always want to make it to where, you know, the players are having a really good time. So we're constantly evaluating, you know, our skill system, our armor. We're always making tweaks and redefinitions to it. That's part of the beauty of an online game, is that it's persistent, so you can always change it. You know, there's no one build and that's it. So we're always looking into ways to make the system better and make it more enjoyable for the players.
That was not escape. Just figuring out what I have, but I'm like, I don't know what to throw away. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to worry about it because this is just a demo. That's about all I have, but for someone who's played an MMO before, why would they want to play Tera over anything else?
So Tera combines that action and that visceral combat, you know, where you really want to get in and move it, as well as the challenge. It's not a tab target game. You have to focus and really play the game, and it really immerses you and sucks you in. You know, you saw that just in the interview. You know, you were really getting into it. So
it's such a powerful move. It's like, I'm just going to hit him really hard.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes that action combat, it takes that visceral positional combat, and it pairs that to the MMO, the depth of an MMO that you expect, the crafting system, you know, our in-depth storyline. You know, we've got a really good storyline, cutscenes, we've got dungeons, you know, all the things you come to expect from a AAA MMO, and it puts them together in this really unique package that we think players are going to like.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, we appreciate it.